WTBR 88.7 is live and around the world. Hello, everybody. This is Mad Dog DeCipio. Welcome to a very special Friday night edition of a very, very special What's the Buzz podcast tonight. Exploring the world of professional wrestling, women's professional wrestling, with my friend Vickie Otis. She'll be here very shortly. But before we get into that, welcome to What's the Buzz on Friday night. Benny Scala, the player, is in the house. How are you, brother?
Pleasure to be here, as always.
Nice to have you here. And the author of Vickie's incredible new book is Tom Strasdas. And the book is Fighting the Wrong Side of the Sun, Becoming Princess Victoria. Let me bring Tom up here. Tom, welcome. This is your first time on America's Podcast. What's the Buzz? How are you, my friend?
Thank you. How are you guys today?
We are absolutely fantastic. We are, we're doing, I speak for Benny when I say we're looking good like we should.
I'm doing great. Can't complain.
Absolutely. So, Tom, let me get into a little bit of information about you. You are an artist as well as you dabble in writing, they say a bit. How did you and Vickie kind of collaborate on this? Well, first of all, how did you meet? And then where did the book come from?
Say we met through Abdullah the Butcher, which is there's a funny little segue here. I was out working with DDP Yoga, helping to rehabilitate Abdullah the Butcher. And at one point, when I started with him, he was in a wheelchair. He did not get out of that wheelchair. And he had been turned away from physical therapist's office because they were afraid that the nurses were going to get hurt lifting him out of the waiting area and into the office. So I started working with him, and like I said, he was immobile. And by the time I was done, he was able to get out of a chair, unassisted, and take steps, which was a huge accomplishment. So at some point in time, he and this author named Scotty Rushing started working together on a biography. And Scotty and Vickie were friends. And Scotty introduced us because he thought that I could help her with her rehabilitation from her injuries in ring, her broken neck that has caused her pain over the years. And so he introduced us. And from there, we started working together. And at some point in time, she has all these sayings. And when she gets on here, you're going to hear them. She'll spit them out like wildfire. And I just kept saying, I got to write all these down because I hadn't heard a lot of them. Like she said one like thin as frog's hair one day. I was like, I've never heard that. And like, we should make a list of Vickie's sayings. And then she kept telling me road stories, and I had read her book. And a lot of the stuff that she was telling me just wasn't in the book that she had. And one day we were talking, and she told me a tentative title for a new book, which was called When Rabbits Die. And that was what the title of this book was going to be until I found out that there was other books with similar titles that were just too close, and we ended up going in a different direction as far as the title. But she told me the reason why she wanted to call it that, and I'll have her get into that when she gets here. And I said, why don't we just do this? Why don't we just write a new book that kind of covers everything rather than,
Sure.
We just keep talking about it. And so that's what we did. Just one night I called her and we started the process of writing a book. And this is my first book. So it took me a little while to get my feet under me and figure out like a process as far as interviewing her. But once I found my footing, it just rolled.
Remarkable. Benny, questions for Thomas?
Yeah, Tom, I started lifting weights in 1988. I was 33. In 2018 is when I started DDPY. And it's helped me infinitely in the last 8 years. Angela's got a very large listening audience. For those who are not familiar with DDPY, maybe can you give out the Cliff Notes version of what it's all about?
DDPY is Diamond Dallas Page Yoga. It starts out as a low impact yoga from a chair, and then it advances up to fully standing workouts. It incorporates classic, traditional yoga poses with what we call dynamic resistance. So we'll go into a traditional yoga pose, then we'll do weightlifting motions. And the way you get your heart rate going is you squeeze your muscles as little or as much as you want to for that cardio effect. It also mixes in old school calisthenics like push-ups and squats, etc. So it's really a hybrid yoga because there's also some Pilates in it. It's a really fun, all-encompassing workout. And you get, I used to do CrossFit and I would burn, in about an hour, about 600 calories. In DDP yoga, you can burn without moving from your mat, mind you. You can burn about 400 to 500 calories easy in an hour. So you kind of weigh those options, right? Do I want to go and put my body through CrossFit, or do I want to stand here on a mat and burn the same amount of calories type of thing and gain flexibility and mobility, things like that?
Now, it's for pretty much everybody because the app is phenomenal. It even has something called Bed Flex for those who are bedbound.
Yeah, actually, when I started, that was one of the things that attracted me to it because when I started, I was just coming off of 2 decades worth of alcoholism, and I was out of shape, in the worst shape I was ever in my life. And I had seen that Shark Tank episode, and I was like, oh wow, I can work out in my bed. Let's give this a try. And that was very short-lived. Benny, I'm sure you can attest to this. Once you start doing it, you kind of just keep progressing and progressing. Yes, and pretty soon absolutely. I was doing 2 1-hour workouts a day, and I lost 45 pounds within like 3 or 4 months. And I think the most important thing about DDP yoga versus, weightlifting and doing CrossFit training and things like that is those workouts are all going to hit the major muscles, right? And DDP yoga builds all those small muscles around your joints, around your knees, in your hips, and in your shoulders. And those are the muscles you tend to injure when you're doing doing weightlifting, doing CrossFit. And so when I go to the gym, I often see people for a while, then they disappear, and then you find out that they tore something. And I'm always there. So I tell them, it's because I do DDP yoga. It's because I work those small muscles around the major muscles. Right. And that's how I get people to do yoga.
Well, our guest of honor is here, Vickie Otis. Vickie, I can
Hello.
only see half of your head.
Oh, hang on.
There you go.
Yeah, much better.
I'm so sorry I was late. I lost the
you
link.
Never have to apologize, young lady.
Yes,
you know that.
I do for being late.
I have known Vickie Otis for the better part of 35 years when the two of us both worked for the World Wrestling Federation. Yes. There is a moment in time that I know you'll never forget. And let's put it this way. She'll never see the George Washington Bridge the same way. You want to tell them you want me to? I'm surprised that story didn't make the book.
I am too. You'll never look at the bridge the same either.
No, man. Let me tell everybody what we're talking about.
Go ahead.
I worked for the World Wrestling Federation back then. My uncle was Phil Zacco. He was one of Vince Sr.'s guys, along with Willie Gilzenberg and Toots Mont back in the day. And we had to go from New Jersey over into New York to the Garden, going over the George Washington Bridge, and I was feeling kind of froggy that day.
So was I.
Yeah. And I just, in a moment of sheer exuberance, dropped trowel and mooned a car full of lady wrestlers. Oh, dear God. I'm telling you, I think everybody on the Jersey side of that bridge saw my ass.
Wasn't it about noon and the bridge was just car to car to car?
It was bumper to bumper. It was absolutely gridlock. And we were sitting there like, what do we want to do? What do we want to do? So, me being who I am, never shy, and rarely with clothing on, I dropped trowel and I mooned the entire George Washington Bridge. That's what I did.
I will never. Thank you so much.
I know you needed a lipstick.
That was.
Let me tell everybody about my friend Vickie Otis. I want everybody to follow Vickie Otis's journey from an ordinary young woman with an interest in athletics and competition into one of the pioneering figures of women's professional wrestling. The book, Fighting the Wrong Side of the Sun, Becoming Princess Victoria, recounts the challenges she faced breaking into a demanding and often unforgiving industry, learning the craft, earning respect in the locker room, and developing the ring persona of Princess Victoria. Along the way, she describes the physical hardships of wrestling, the constant travel, and the determination required to succeed in this most unforgiving businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Vickie Otis?
Hello, everybody. Said it in a Michael McConaughey voice.
So now, how the hell are you?
I'm fantastic.
You
I
look
really am.
amazing. You really, I'll tell you what, it's remarkable. First of all, it's remarkable that you still have a sense of humor about wrestling.
Oh, if you didn't have a sense of humor in wrestling,
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah,
Let
you're
me tell
blank,
everybody.
You're blank without a kiss.
This is the second book we're promoting for Vickie. The first one is Tears, Triumphs, and Turnbuckles, and I loved that title. Love that title. And the new one, of course, equally fascinating. And when we find out how that story came about, Fighting the Wrong Side of the Sun, Becoming Princess Victoria. Now, before you arrived here, Vickie, Thomas was telling us that the book, and you and I talked about this before, the book was supposed to be called When Rabbits Die.
Yeah, I started the book. I started the book over 10, pre-2008. I had started it. And it was basically, a lot of people look at it, and I probably do too now, it was a trauma dump. You know, I just needed, and it was right around 9/11. And I started writing this book. I don't know where I made the connection, but for some reason that kicked me. And it was about my childhood. And the reason it was called When Rabbits Die is because my abuser not only sexually assaulted me many times, he sexually assaulted my brothers and my half sister. Right. And unfortunately, he would take us on these fishing trips. And when about the time he'd set me up with the minnow bucket, he'd have one of my two brothers doing something, and then he'd take one of the kids to the car. And the reason that I call it When Rabbits Die is when those children screamed, I couldn't associate it with any other sound, because when a rabbit dies, it screams. And I mean, it screams horribly. Yeah. And that was actually what started the first book. You know, the first 70 pages, and it was, I was very, as you well know, I was very open and honest about what happened to me.
Oh, absolutely. You and I have talked about it multiple times, not only over the phone, but on our shows. And one of the things that I love in speaking to you and always have is that you have this unconditional candor for dealing with everything that's in front of you. The idea is, and correct me if I'm wrong, put everything on the table. I know you will. Put everything on the table, sort it out, and deal with one issue at a time. And I think I know you that well.
Yes, sir. Yes, you do. Thank you. I'm still laughing about the Washington Bridge. Thank you so much for telling that story.
You're quite welcome. Man, I tell you, it was a lot. That was a lot of fun, man. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I was a lot younger and much more uninhibited. But I still like to walk around naked.
Right. Hey, I live so far in the country that I have to use Wi-Fi for calling.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Verizon can't even find me, so I do that all the time out here.
Wow. I want to introduce, you probably know Benny Scala.
We met a long time ago. Yeah, I interviewed you, Vickie, about 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice
so
to see
Benny,
you.
You are up, Ben. Questions for Vickie.
I have a 2-part question for Vickie. The first one's more of an info kind of thing, but I watched an interview, and we have this in common. I, growing up, absolutely loved the roller derby. I went to, it was Palm Sunday, 1970 at Madison Square Garden. The Bombers against the Midwest Pioneers. They actually set an indoor attendance record. But you were on a podcast, and you mentioned that your favorite roller derby person, and you didn't remember her name. You just said a big blonde girl. So I'm wondering if it was Joni Weston.
Was she part of, I believe the name
Joni
of the
Weston
team
was the star of the Bombers women's team.
Yes.
Yeah.
If she was the big blonde, yes.
And I'm shocked. I'm shocked Vickie didn't love Ann Calvello. You remember her, the lady with the purple hair?
Oh my God. I knew Ann Calvello.
That lady should have been a heel wrestler. Oh my God.
Honestly.
Right. Well, from what I understand, there's a few of the roller derby, and I'll treat them with all the respect, the roller derby queens who did transfer into wrestling. I can't name their names off the top of my head, but if you do a little research, I believe you'll find that to be true.
I'll tell you who one of them was. Actually, I'll tell you who 2 of them were. One was a young lady named Judy Sawinski, and the other one was a blonde woman from Philadelphia named Judy Arnold.
Oh, I remember Judy Arnold.
Yeah, Judy Sawinski used to skate for Chicago. Benny, what was the Chicago team?
I don't know. I just remember. The LA Thunderbirds. I remember the Midwest Pioneers, the Bay Area Bombers, New York Chiefs. Yeah. You know,
I used to love seeing the Thunderbirds go against the Bombers.
Well, and then you were trying
to
think of a name of a small male coach. And that was Ralph Valadares, a.k.a. Little Ralphie.
Oh, my God. Ralphie Valadares. Holy shit.
Didn't he pull a Jimmy Cornette and have a tennis racket or a cane that he tripped the opposite team with?
He sure the fuck did.
It was literally wrestling on wheels.
Right.
Yes, it was.
Oh, well, see, I don't know if you know, but my first match that I went to see live, they had the roller derby first and then the wrestling match. And Jimmy Snuka, and this was my first live wrestling match, and I'd never seen Jimmy Snuka. But Jimmy Snuka did that. I call it the bat. Some people call it the frog, but it does not look like a frog to me. When he spread his arms and he flew across that ring, he reminds me of a bat.
Yeah.
And I believe that I did my research, and I believe that was the first match he ever wrestled. And I still have his autographed 8x10 that he autographed for me. And Jimmy,
I'll tell you, Vickie.
Yes, sir.
Jimmy, God rest his soul, used to live 3 blocks away from where I am right now.
Right.
I live in Wrestlers Row. We had Jimmy Snuka, Buddy Rogers, King Kong Bundy, Alpha and Sika, Don Morocco.
Yep.
They all lived here in the Cherry Hill, New Jersey area. All of them.
Didn't Sika and Alpha have their own house in there? I mean, a house, not an apartment.
Yeah, no, they had a house here, and then Alpha moved back to Allentown, Pennsylvania, where he opened up the wrestling school, which is still open today, by the way. And Sika stayed here and moved north up northern New Jersey in a place called Edison, and he had a house there.
There's a story in the book about me and Velvet and Peggy being at Offa and Sika's house.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna say any more than that, but there's a few pictures. There's a few good pictures in the book, and the story is astronomical. I've got to give Tom credit doing this book. Now, my first book was absolutely beautiful. I give John Cosper all the credit in the world.
Great book.
Him and we went for like an hour one night trying to figure out the title. And it finally turned around to, Tears, Turnbuckles, and Triumphs.
Triumphs, yeah.
And, but Tom, and I've said this on another podcast, but I'm going to repeat myself. Don't ever try to hide from Tom. Please don't.
Nah, right?
Tom has an Aunt Sue. She can not only find the needle in a haystack, she can find the little pissant in there too.
There you go.
This woman came up with a picture of my biological father, and y'all have seen, I'm sure, what I thought was a scar in my eyebrow, right?
Yeah.
Well, Aunt Sue found this picture of my biological father, who unfortunately I never got to meet. It would have been cool because he was from Thibodaux, Louisiana. So, we'd have had some fun. But when I looked at the picture that Aunt Sue found, my biological father has this same mark in his eyebrow. So it's not a scar. It's a birthmark.
Birthmark, yeah.
Interesting. One of the things I wanted to talk about tonight was because I have the first book. You and I talked about that when you and John were on the show, and yet we promoted the book. How does this book, Vickie, differ from the first one? I know that the first one was a lot about personalities in the wrestling business. This seems to be much more, and thankfully, it seems to be much more Vickie's story.
And once again, I have to, give credit to Tom for this. I also did the DDPY because, and when Tom first found me and started me out, I couldn't hardly do the chair workouts. And at that point, I was so, I don't like to use the word, but I was so crippled up that going outside, going down 3 steps was a major accomplishment. Yeah, and when I met Tom, he asked me, what is your goal? I said, well, right now I've got 80% really bad days and 20% so-so days. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I said, I'd like to get it at least back to 50-50. 50 good days, I can handle the 50 bad days. And with DDPY, with, DDP yoga, and it starts in a chair. It's a very low impact yoga. Mm-hmm. And before I knew it, I was doing leg lunges. And bending over to pick up, if I saw $100 bill on the ground, I had to think, is that worth it?
Right.
And excuse me, pollen has gotten to me something terrible.
I hear you.
And Tom has gotten me to where I've got my garden. My yard is, and I'm not sure if you guys know, but one of the greatest things I love to do is working in the yard. I have an electric lawnmower that doesn't weigh 15 pounds, and I had gotten to where I couldn't even push it. Yeah. And Tom has taken me to where I can do, if I set my mind to it, I can do anything. And fortunately or unfortunately, how you look at it, when I have those good days, I tend to overdo it because I'm so excited. You know, like the other day, I water sealed the porches and worked in the garden, and I didn't think that was enough, so I went ahead and mowed the grass, and I made a post on Facebook, and I said, just shoot me now because tomorrow I'm gonna hurt. But
Right.
it's a good kind of hurt, you know, it's those muscle hurts. But Tom, whether he realizes it or not, is an angel to me,
Mm-hmm.
to Abdullah the butcher,
Sure.
to Patty Leilani Kai.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I'm sure Tom has not told you that he does all this for free.
No, he hasn't mentioned that part.
Right. He does all this for free. And you know, we'd talk during the workouts, and he'd and one of my favorite things that we do is can you do one more? I said, well, we'll find out, won't we?
Absolutely right.
And then I started talking, and you know me, Angela, I keep all these old sayings, like there's more ways to skin a cat than one. And he started picking up on this, that I've got all these, you know, I just heard him along the way, mainly.
Oh, sure.
You know, when the old timers took me over, what I call old timers in the business took me over, you know, when you listen to them, they're just like that. They have, and you know,
believe me. Oh, I know. You got to remember something. I hung out with people like Red Bastien, Bruno, Dominic DeNucci. These were like, you know, uncles to me. And Red, God rest his soul, but Red Bastien, and I'll tell you, Carl Lauer's another one with 1,000 expressions. But Red was one of these guys that could like boom, boom, like rapid fire, kind of like you.
Believe me, I know.
I know you do.
when Sandy was training Velvet and I,
right?
He would bring in, you know, like every wrestler that was in the territory. He even brought in Murph the Surf. Does that ring a bell?
Oh, dear Jesus. Yeah. Murph the Surf.
He brought in Dale Lewis.
Oh, wow.
Professor Dale Lewis. And then he brought in Red Bastien.
Oh, man. I miss Red.
Let me tell you what. Sandy, you know, and I've said this, I've told a lot of people this, when we were training, there was a garbage can on each side of the ring. It wasn't if you were going to throw up, it was when could you make one of the garbage cans. Well, Sandy brought in Red Bastien for 2 days in a row.
Oh, dear Jesus.
They think, you know, people think Stu Hart's dungeon was something. Get in the ring with Red Bastien. We were praying for Sandy to come back.
Red was a cardio machine.
Yes.
He was a cardio machine. Benny, what do you know about Red Bastien? You know anything about Red?
Didn't he at one point have a tag team with Billy Red Lions, I believe?
Yeah, they were called the Bastien brothers back in the day. Yeah,
right.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, he was a heck of a wrestler and a heck of a trainer. You know, I mean, you know, and see what the trainers don't have today. And here she goes on Left Turn Clyde. A lot of the trainers today, they're not doing their job. A trainer's job is to make sure that your heart is in wrestling.
Absolutely.
His job is to make you quit. Because if you'll quit, your heart's not in wrestling.
Absolutely.
And that's the way.
Ain't that the truth? And I think, you know what, Vickie, you bring up something I think that is absolutely essential for young wrestlers today to hear. And it might not hurt for some of the, the more seasoned people to remember what you just said. That's what's missing from wrestling. It's not skill, because skill can be taught. You can't teach heart.
You can't teach heart. You can't teach psychology.
Nope.
You cannot teach somebody to wrestle and at the same time listen to the crowd.
Exactly. There was a master. You and I both remember this masterful guy. His name was Johnny Valentine.
Oh, God.
Johnny Valentine was if there were PhDs in psychology for wrestling,
yes,
this
sir.
guy would have his own university. Okay.
Yes.
He was absolutely brilliant. He didn't have to do anything but look at you a certain way. But the psychology behind it was, don't fuck with me or I'm going to hurt you.
Right.
And he said something that people need to remember.
Right.
And people, when people talk about wrestling being fake or phony, Johnny Valentine had the greatest comeback in history. He says, I'll never be able to convince you that wrestling is real, but I'll convince you I am.
Yes.
And he was.
Yes.
Absolutely. Any questions for Thomas or for
this is gonna be for both of them. So my understanding is one of the reasons why this book arose was that, in the course of telling Tom so many stories about your time on the road, that he felt that was enough for another book. And I think that's something that back in the territory days, you'd have 3 or 4 wrestlers in a car. And, I know you worked for Mid-South, and those were like endless drives. So you might be driving 6 hours with 3 other wrestlers, and that serves 2 purposes. One is you develop a camaraderie with those other people. And number 2 is if you're a rookie, now it's almost like you're in college. You have a 6-hour class. So,
yes.
But my question is, like, nowadays, and this is for both of you, they're not that doesn't happen anymore. So, like, both Angelo and Angelo a lot more than me, have interviewed like so many wrestlers, and we've had so many stories like that, and these great stories on the road. What is the wrestler of 2026? What are they going to have to be able to tell? Because they're on their own. They're flying on a plane, first class. There's not going to be a Vickie to have these great stories anymore.
And that's a shame. One thing that Sandy Barr drilled into my head was, when an old timer speaks, you shut your mouth, you open your ears, and you listen. Because you will learn more from them talking, driving down the road.
Absolutely.
Than you will learn from them training you.
Right.
Because that's where their brain, when they start telling you these stories, their brain, they're telling you psychology. They're teaching you psychology without even realizing they're teaching you psychology.
Right.
And
we talked about that. Ben, you and I actually spoke about that a week or so ago when we had lady wrestler Roxy Astor with us.
I know Roxy.
Oh, Rox, she's a character. She's a trip. Vickie, one of the things when we talk about psychology and what was and now what is, give some practical advice to young wrestlers if they're not capable of understanding, or they think. The problem I find is that young wrestlers today think they know everything, and I have a huge problem with that.
I have walked into one too many, and one is too many dressing rooms. And I have sat there and I've watched these new guys. And I'm sorry, kids, but I'm 65. Y'all are new guys and you're youngins.
Yeah.
And what they're missing is they sit there and they talk about this match. They talk about a 15-minute match for 2.5 hours.
Thank you.
And I have actually seen this happen a couple of times where they get in the ring and they're going da-dink, da-donk, da-dink. And then somebody messes something up and they both stand there like,
what do we do next?
What the fuck do we do now?
Right.
Vickie, they're like deer in a headlight. They don't know because they threw their game off.
Yes.
The greatest teaching tool a young wrestler will ever have is to learn to work, call it in the ring, work on the fly. You'll know who you are.
When I walked in the ring, I knew the first hold after the lockup, I knew the high spot, and I knew the finish.
That was all you needed.
And any of that could change depending on what the crowd was doing.
Right.
You know, for some reason, the crowd loved to see me suffer. Which didn't bother me because I'm laying on the mat and I'm doing the fish flop. And I'm not running the ropes. I'm just flopping this way and flopping that way. And but you're listening to the crowd. Absolutely. If they're not liking what is going on, take step 2.
Yeah.
They don't like that, take step 3. You're going to hear them.
Sure.
And these kids today, like I said about them planning this match, the one sentence that can bring steam out of my ears is, well, wait a minute. I got to get my this in and my that in and my the other thing in. And I need to write a letter to my mama while I'm in the ring.
Right.
It's not about you.
Exactly.
Wrestling is not about the wrestlers. It's about that crowd. Did they walk out that door knowing that they were coming next week?
Yep.
Did they get up out of their seats? Did they get paid for that what they spent on that match?
Right.
You know, do they hate the heel and love the baby face? If those 3 things aren't there, you're doing something wrong, brother.
Well, they got a whole industry now that's doing something wrong. Let me talk to you about something because this is it fascinates me every time I think about it. Relatively speaking, your career was fairly short.
Not relatively speaking, it was.
But here's the interesting thing. As I said, let's be honest. Yeah, it was cut short before it should have been. But relatively speaking, it was short compared to careers today, which are
like Velvet,
quite frankly,
Judy,
even shorter.
Here's
the question I have regarding that.
Okay.
You have a legacy. You are a woman that's got 2 books in you now, probably another 1 or 2 in you.
Let Tom know that.
Just from look, you could do a book just on road stories,
right?
I mean, think about this. But here's what I'm getting at. You had a short career, but you are remembered. This article called you, and I quote, one of the pioneering factors in women's wrestling. And you are and were. And
I don't know how. There were so many women who spent so much more time in the ring that deserved Leilani Kai, Judy Martin, Joyce Grable, Velvet McIntyre, Peggy Lee Leather.
Mm-hmm.
They were in for a heck of a lot longer than I was.
You know what the difference is? It's like people who make a lot of money. It's not how much you make, it's how much you save. Here's the thing with you. It's not how much time you put in, it's how much they remember you. And that's the thing. You were memorable. Your career was memorable. It was short, but it was action packed. And if you don't believe that, I've got 2 volumes of books over here. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, the other thing is you mentioned a couple of my favorite people. I've had them all on the show except for Leilani. I was never able to get Leilani on the show. I've had Wendy here, Wendy Richter. I have had Judy Martin. I have had Joyce Grable here. I have had oh God, well, of course you, of course, and some of my independent favorites like Casey Carlisle and
I know that name.
Yeah, Casey, great. She's a wonderful, wonderful lady. Hell of a wrestler too. Here's the thing, though. Why do we not remember certain female wrestlers? Even now with men, we don't remember. We'll remember Bruno, Dominic DeNucci. We'll remember Red. We'll remember Baron Cicluna. We'll remember all of these people. Bulldog Brower.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you 6 weeks from now who the wrestlers today are. I don't know who they will be. They change like your socks.
And that's one thing. That's one thing Sandy taught me. Sandy taught me a lot. Not just training me. I'm not talking about training. I'm talking about brain training.
Yeah, sure.
And he has always said, well, the night that, and God bless his soul, I love him to this day, Buddy Rose put me over.
Ah, here you go.
And I tell everybody, Buddy Rose did something he didn't have to do because he had just come out of the Piper Rose feud, which is legendary.
Oh God,
I mean, I don't care if you're in, Barbados with no TV, you still know about Roddy Piper, Rose,
Yeah, because they set Portland on fire.
Oh God.
And Don Owens.
What was funny is I was there the night that Piper turned.
Oh shit.
In 20 seconds, I kid you not, in 20 seconds, Roddy Piper went from being one of the 2, Buddy Rose, hated men in professional wrestling in the Pacific Northwest to one of the most loved. He did not change his style. He did not change the way he talked. He did not change his name. He changed nothing. And Sandy pointed that out to me. Yeah. You're Princess Victoria. I don't care if they offer you $1 million to change your name. Don't do it. You're Princess Victoria. Because if you're using this name in that territory and this name in that territory and this, people only know you in that territory as that name. And I don't, to me, that's a no-no. Do not change your gimmick no matter what. Because
and it's funny you say that because Vince McMahon Jr. or Vincent, Jr. we call him, he did that as a practice. He changed everybody's name. You couldn't, and I think he did that because he wanted you to know that was his control on you. If you leave his territory, you're not going to be the Ultimate Warrior. You're going to be somebody else. You're not going to be,
And I don't although Vinnie Mac, Vinnie Mac wanted them to change, number one reason he wanted them to change is because he wanted to patent their name to the WWE, so they couldn't use that name in any other territory.
Yep, that's right.
Which you could beat me with a whip 50, give me 50 stripes, across the pole, and let my back be bloody, I would not change my name.
I'm with you. I hate
and what he did to Buddy, what he did to Adrian Adonis, what he did to Terry Taylor.
Yeah.
And all three of these are my brothers. They came up with me in the Pacific Northwest.
Vickie, I'm up against a hard break right now. Hold that thought. I am up against a hard break. WTBR Radio 88.7 worldwide from Philadelphia, broadcasting live. We will be back in 1 minute and 1 second.
You're on a hot date, you're making the cut. You can't be dealing with a faulty left nut. Manscaped is the answer for your gnarly nut sack. Before that babe tells you to hit the road, Jack. In this crazy world of ours, we're often climbing the walls. In all of the confusion, don't forget about your balls. Manscaped to the rescue for your precious crown jewels. Get it today, don't delay. Please be good to your tools.
88.7 WTBR Radio.
Hell of a way to make a fucking living.
I loved it. I was dying.
That's courtesy of Benny Scala.
That Benny,
Thank you.
did well.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
That's wait a minute. You should. You know what? I'm gonna have Benny. You know what you got to do for me? You
Sure.
got to send Vickie a link to that song you wrote for Roxy Astor.
Oh, sure.
Hell of a-
Absolutely. I will do
Yeah,
that.
you know what? I might be able to play it for you tonight. Benny, why don't you take over for the next 15 minutes or so? Go for it.
I got plenty here. So Vickie, I worked 46, like Larry Zabisco, 46 and a half glorious years doing finance and accounting. And I know you talked about this before, but it's worth talking about again. And I hope maybe it's in the new book, but I don't think the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, they don't know about the Lillian Ellison method of bookkeeping. So I wanted you to kind of go over how that worked, how like the money went from the promoter to Lillian to you guys, and how the debits and the credits worked.
Well, and Judy Martin actually proved this to be a fact. I never signed a check from a promoter. I never actually saw how much I made. Later on in life, I mean, you take a girl that's living in a wino motel. She pays $90 a month for rent, holds a knife in her hand while she's in the shower down the hall because the locks don't work, and you hand her $10,000 in a year. I thought that was fantastic. I'm making less than $2,000 a year, and everything that I paid in taxes, I'm getting back. And Lillian, Judy found out, and she let the rest of us know. What Moolah would do is she would sign our checks, deposit them, and then say we made $2,000 in that week. We'd actually only be aware of maybe $750 to $1,000. And then she'd go ahead, after she had stolen half our payday, then she would go ahead and take the 30% out of what she gave us. And Judy actually proved that when her and Leilani were the glamour girls, and Vinny, well, I've got to call him Vince McMahon Jr. at this point because I got to respect him. He stopped Moolah from taking money from Leilani and Judy. They got their pay. And Moolah no longer got a cut. They were part of the WWE now.
Mm-hmm.
And Judy asked, and I can't remember who it was. I think she asked Pat Patterson first that she'd like to, do you guys, excuse me, have any copies of the old checks? And they said, yeah, we got all the copies. And then she had to ask again about 2 months down the road because she never got them. But when she got them, us girls, we kept a book. Me being mama on the road because I had a car, I kept mileage, motel, how much the motel cost, all that. And then how much did Moolah say you made? And Judy took this to a lawyer, showed that was not her signature on that check. And the lawyer told her straight up, he says, you got a great case, but you ain't got enough pull. You cannot beat
Right.
Vinnie McMahon's lawyers because Vince McMahon Sr. and Vince McMahon Jr. had Lillian's back. And they had 5 lawyers. And he told her straight up, you don't have enough money to take this to court. I'm not saying that you're not right. I'm not, you've got it right down. You've got all the proof right here, but you do not have enough money to pay the lawyers to sue her.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And there were other things she did, like
Crazy.
well, and everybody knows this story, so I can go ahead and tell it. When I broke my neck, I came back to the Hill, and we all know the Hill. That's Moolah's encampment.
Oh, yeah.
And from the time I broke my neck to this one morning, I have maybe 2 minutes of memory. I remember that I was sitting in the dressing room, went down to untie my boots, felt something pull, and I did like what every wrestler does. Ah, God, what muscle have I pulled now?
Man.
So I kicked back and I chilled out, cooled off. The next thing that I did is I remember bending over, and that's the next thing I remember is I'm on a gurney. I can see the ambulance in front of me with the red lights on. There's an EMT here. There's an EMT here. And Piper was, I believe, on my left. And then I remember about 20 seconds being in the hospital. I have no clue, absolutely no clue how I made it back to South Carolina from Philadelphia. And
Crazy.
And then the next memory I have in this broken up scenario, which, like I said, I've got maybe 2 minutes of it in my head, is I remember walking with Moolah out to the gym and her saying, take a bump. And when I took a bump, I screamed. The next thing that happened was Moolah called me into her office and she introduced me over the phone, quotations, to Ernie Van Gilder, who lived in Holland. Need I say more?
Yeah.
And when I went over, before I went over there, I was on the phone and I very explicitly told him separate motel rooms. The first morning I woke up, and I guess he didn't realize that I was a, kid from the streets And in my sleep, I came up and I grabbed his wrist, and it was right here.
Yeah.
And I took my thumb. You know the hold, Angelo. You know what I did.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
And I took my hold, and he kept pushing. And I said, "And Ernie, I'll break your wrist.
Mm-hmm.
Back off." And then when he backed off, I went, "Oh my God. This guy, he was in his boxer shorts and a wife beater." And
There's a visual.
Yeah, right?
all right, this right here is his boxers, right? This is what his leg looked like under the boxers.
That's funny shit.
Well,
That's so
now,
funny.
I am not an innocent. If I see somebody I like, we have some chemistry in the business, you know, it's just like being in a business office. You know,
Question for
who
you.
do you go out to dinner with? Who do you go out drinking with? Who do you end up being in a relationship with? The people in your business office, and wrestling is the same.
A question for you.
Yes,
You
sir.
talked about Moolah and being protected. She could not have made that much money for them. It couldn't have been that substantial. Why was she so protected for so long? I know if she made 50 grand for them or 100 grand, let's be honest, in the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot of money.
No, well, but is that the babies?
Yes.
It's all
Tell 'em
good.
I love them.
It's all good.
Oh yeah, no problem at all. You ought to see his kids. They're awesome. Yeah. Now I lost my train of thought. What was the last sentence I said?
He was asking about why Moolah was protected.
Yes.
Why was Moolah protected? Well, there's a rumor. There is a rumor.
Okay.
And the one person who told me this rumor has never lied to me. Never, put out gossip. There is a rumor that Flossie, Mary,
Mm-hmm.
was Vince McMahon Sr.'s daughter.
I heard that.
And
I heard that.
I actually had Flossie came on in one of my chats online and started, you better shut up. I'm going to dig your skeletons out of the closet. And I said, honey, you're too late. They're already in the yard.
Yeah. It would explain an awful lot. It would certainly explain
The death block that she had.
Yeah.
On New York Wrestling, on the WWF, on the WWE. Like I said, I cannot prove that. I am telling you right now, it's a rumor.
Well,
but
it would make sense, though.
But the person I heard it from was not a gossip and had never lied to me.
And it would make perfect sense because it would explain why Junior protected Moolah all those years when she was clearly no use to them, clearly past her prime,
and
kept her on the payroll. To the day she died, she was on WWF payroll.
Yes.
And so too was Johnny Mae Young.
Right. But what they did with Moolah and May, that was disgusting to me.
It was
when they put Moolah and May in those schoolgirl outfits.
Awful.
And the finish was they would sit on the girl's face, and because the nether region smelled so bad, they'd pass out.
Yeah.
Along with something else she showed, that they showed that
Yeah.
night. I almost put my foot through my 55-inch DLP in 1987.
I'll tell you what, I know a little. You might not know this, but I know something about what May used to do before that match, before matches like that.
Right.
I don't know. Benny, have you ever heard the story about Mae Young and the tuna fish?
No.
No, I haven't. I haven't
Oh,
even heard
I know
that
where
one.
that's
I
going.
usually hear
She
everything
used,
first.
yes. I'm not making a word of this up. She used to open a can of tuna fish. I'm going to get graphic.
Go ahead.
Take the undies, pour the tuna fish, yes, and then put it back on. I'm not a word of that, not one word of that. You can't, and I say to people all the time, you can't make this shit up. You just can't.
You can't. No. Oh my God.
But this is old school wrestling. That's how they used to do it.
Right.
If there were people like, oh God, I'm trying to remember that woman back in the day. People, I'll tell you who would be able to tell you. God rest her soul, but Donna Christinello, the late Donna Christinello.
Mama. No.
Mama.
Call
There you
her
go.
by her real name. That was Mama.
Yep.
That was Mama on the hill. I lived with Donna. Donna, she took care of us. You know, if you had a problem, you could go to Donna.
Yeah.
She'd sit there and talk to you about it. You know, I mean, there were so many. And like I said, I lived with her.
Mm-hmm.
She was Mama on the hill. And I mean that not in a bad way. I mean that with all the love. And I miss her so much.
Benny,
Interesting enough, when Judy
Yes,
told the story about the checks in the book, which it's in there from Judy Martin, she alleges that Donna Christinello was the one that forged the signatures on the checks.
I will probably tell you that's probably true.
That would not surprise me, because
that's probably true.
That way Moolah could slide it off to Donna.
Yeah.
She could say, "Oh, I didn't do that. Donna did it."
Yeah, exactly. Plausible deniability. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Benny, we have 12 minutes left, Benny, and I am going to let you take us home, my friend.
Yeah, well, I have a question for Tom. That great book that you're holding up, when will that be available and how?
Available in July after the gathering, which is the 21st or the 24th. Is that right, Vickie? Or 23rd to the 20th? It's the end of July. We're going to release.
There you go. I believe it's the 20. I will be there at the gathering, and Tom will be there from, I believe, the 23rd till the 26th.
Yeah, the gathering is from the 22nd to the 26th, Vickie.
Yeah. We're all flying in and coming in. Me, Tom, Judy Martin, Leilani Kai. We're all coming in on Thursday night. We're going to be setting up our tables, and we're going
to bring our show there, but there's nothing left. There's no tables left.
Tom, is there a way we could
because I was going to have
them?
I was going to have Benny and Amelia represent our show there. But
so we're bringing 50 softbacks and 10 hardbacks to the gathering. That's going to be the first place that they're going to be available. Then after day one of the gathering, it'll be wide released on Amazon. There'll be a hardback version and a softback version available. And then on the subject of Moolah, which we talked about before, I think you guys are really going to appreciate how we approach that in this book, because we talked to about 15 of the women who were at the Hill and got their opinions on Moolah. And I asked them straight up, because Vickie said to me in the beginning of the chapter, Moolah was to you, depending on where you came from and what she could get out of you. That's who Moolah was to you. So I asked that question to 15 different women there. And so we got all different opinions, and, you know, some good, some bad. And I just left it be. I didn't pass my judgment. So I think that that's a really cool chapter, and you guys are going to enjoy reading that one.
Yeah. Vickie,
Let me promote. I want to promote an amazing documentary. If you have not seen it, you can check it out on. I believe it's on Tubi TV, and it may also be on Netflix. It's called Lipstick and Dynamite, Piss and Vinegar.
I saw it.
Great movie about ladies wrestling. Benny, take us home, brother.
Yeah, I have a two-part question for Vickie, and we're up against time here. So first part is, imagine, I believe you used to watch wrestling with your grandparents, and you'd have your dinner plate on your lap while you watch wrestling. So just imagine it's around 1976. You're watching wrestling with your grandparents. You go outside, and there's a time machine waiting for you. And you get in that time machine, and it takes you 50 years forward to 2026, and you're at a Monday Night Raw event. Do you even know what the hell you're watching?
That's funny.
I'm sorry, but no.
Right.
But I can say this. I have been more and more open because, and the one you can give the credit to is Rhea Ripley. I love her.
Oh yeah.
She has she is a professional wrestler. She's not a woman wrestler. She's a professional wrestler. And there are things that I've seen her do that totally remind me of old school wrestlers.
Yes.
And somebody needs to set up, fly me to where she is, because I truly want to meet this woman, because she does have my ultimate respect.
Go ahead, Ben.
One last, So, I've, for a long time, Vickie, to me, the two biggest what ifs in professional wrestling were Magnum TA. What if he hadn't gotten into that car accident? The other one is Gino Hernandez. What if he had kept his head on straight? But I'm going to add you to that list and say, what would have the future of Vickie Otis have been had you not broken your neck? Because you would have headlined WrestleManias for years to come.
That is very true. That I truly believe that they were training Wendy and I, because just before the first WrestleMania, we did this tour that went from New York to Puerto Rico to Trinidad to Santo Domingo, then to Japan, and we landed in Texas. And I believe it was somewhere between 6 and 9 months that we were on the road together. And I believe that was going to be a happening. But I wouldn't change anything. I've said this a million times. I'll say it a million times more. That if I had not broken my neck, I would have still been in wrestling. But I'd have never met my first husband, who gave me my wonderful son, John. And I would not have met my second husband, Jack Coptis. And that was my soulmate, my best friend, the little brother I couldn't kill. And I would not give that up for anything in the world.
What an amazing life. What an amazing book. What an amazing person. They can call you Princess Victoria all day, all week, all year long, but you are Queen Vickie to me, baby.
I love you too, brother.
I love you. You are the best. Next time you're in New York, maybe you and I could recreate that moment.
Yeah, but I want to be the one who does the Great Moon this time.
There you go.
Then you can write another book, Full Moon at High Noon.
I'll tell you right.
Or we could sit side by side and get in front of a car of the new guys.
Oh my God!
And we could give them a double moon.
A double, wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'll tell you who was great to listen to in the Jimmy Valiant.
I love Jimmy.
Oh my God.
I
I think you went to see the Boogie over at the Boogie's camp.
I am very proud to say, number one, I am a graduate of BWC, and number two, I was the very first commissioner of Boogie's wrestling camp.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Good
Isn't
for
he
you, brother?
awful? Is he not?
I would get there. The camp was from 12 until 4.
Right.
I had a 64-mile one-way drive, but I would leave early, so I'd get there about 10:30. So number one, to get a good parking spot. But number two, Jimmy was out there, sweeping up the grounds, and I'd help him. And then, we'd have about an hour and a half where I could just chit-chat with the guy. I mean, what a treasure the guy is.
Right. And he's when about 10 years ago, I saw that he was working with Christy Sells with MLOW. And I hate to say this, but I went in there, I was supposedly doing a documentary, and I sat there questioning these 3 guys that worked for Christy, and I didn't realize one of them was Jimmy. I had no clue. And he didn't take it personally. I was sitting there, I was asking questions.
Yeah.
And if I had known it was Jimmy, oh my God, the bear hug I would have give him. Yeah. Because we were in Montreal. We had just him, me, and Wendy had just left Gold's Gym, and we were walking. We were in the middle of a crosswalk, and somehow Piper came up in the conversation, and I did a Piper imitation, which was the interview he did that said, and I've got enough room in my belly button for the heart of a promoter, a cockroach egg, and Buddy Rose's brain.
Wow.
And I was doing that interview, and at that time I could, Piper, everybody wanted to be able to imitate Piper. And Jimmy looked at me, he says, "Damn, girl, you do Piper better than Piper does Piper."
Telling you right. Well, I got a programming note for Monday. We have on Monday night on What's the Buzz America's Podcast, the true story behind Hotel California, and what you thought you knew barely scratches the surface. Yes, the truth behind Hotel California on Monday night. And on Tuesday, going in for the deep dive, the death of Hulk Hogan, the immortal Hulk Hogan. It has been sealed, closed, end of discussion, so says the Florida State's Attorney's Office, and we say, oh, not so fast. We are reopening the death investigation of Hulk Hogan on Tuesday night. Benny, will you be with us on Tuesday?
I sure will.
All right. On that note, for Benny, the Playa Scala at the Playa Entertainment Network, for Thomas, and I do not want to screw up your last name, Thomas, and I want to make sure this is right. For Thomas Strastas, did I do it right again? Close.
Nailed it.
And of course, for Vickie Otis, Queen Victoria. There you go. Hot damn. I'm going to rebrand you, Vickie. I'm going to rebrand you.
I see that. After 50 years, you're going to rebrand me, right?
Absolutely. I hope you like older men. I'm going to be 67 in a month.
Oh, well, you're only a year and a half older than me.
I am. Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard finding people our age that are still alive.
I'm telling you what. Yeah, no shit, right?
Yep.
But I am the Mad Dog for WTBR Radio 88.7 in Philadelphia, broadcasting on Globecast satellite around the world. We thank you for 17.4 million subscribers worldwide. Thank you. My heart is humbled. I don't know what to say other than thank you, and keep up the good work, my audience. I love you so much. Take care, folks. God bless. Like Papa DeCipio always used to say, tomorrow's promised to no one, so make today count. Have a good one, folks. God bless. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.